Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Well, welcome to this open meeting today, June 4th. Just a little housekeeping cleaning. We only have two here, but we got exit doors here, and then down the hall, the restroom. Sign-in sheet if you haven't signed in already. Today, we're discussing the scoping meeting for the project at 451 El Camino Real. Last week, as you know, Thursday last week, we had an outreach meeting, so we want to focus, if you have comments on that, you can just send me an email separately, but tonight, we're gonna focusing on the scoping meeting. So with that, I'm gonna share a presentation. It's a quick agenda for today, so you know what to expect. Go over the vicinity of this area of the project in the project description. That's what, and then we'll pass it on to our consultant and Nick here. We'll talk about the EIR process, how to provide comment, and EIR timeline, and then we'll get into questions and comments. Project site is at 451 El Camino Real. These are the surrounding land uses. It's called out. This project is close proximity to the Santa Clara station. And just across the street, El Camino Real, it's the Santa Clara University. We got single family across the street, multifamily surrounding, and the Caltrans on the northeast side there. The site itself has about 216,000 square foot of office building and 2 parking garages, all of which will be demolished for this project on the Santa Clara side. There is a sliver on the far east here. That's part of the city of San Jose. That will be part of the overall project as well through an annexation project. So we go over a little closer to the proposed plan. So you can see there's also existing retail and existing hotel to the left that will remain, not part of this development, and then existing commercial on the bottom here. The Santa Clara side will have 297 units on the wrap apartment building on the west, and to the northeast here, you have 98 townhomes, and on San Jose side, there are 13 townhomes proposed. Just a little recap of that: demolished 4 existing office buildings and 2 parking garages on site. Constructed 5-story building with 297 units of multifamily residential, and then construct 111 3-story townhomes units across 26 buildings, and 13 of which will be from the San Jose site on a 49.5 acre site. And it's going to be the process through the annexations from the city of Santa Clara or detachment after from the city of San Jose. With that, we'll pass it over to Nick for the process.
Thanks, Steve. My name is Nick Tostakia. I'm a project manager with David J. Powers and Associates. So we're working with the city to assist with preparation of the environmental impact report for EIR for the project. Tonight, we'll just be going over the remaining slides in the presentation that outline the general EIR process and the potential opportunities to participate by providing feedback or input on the environmental review for the project. So the first step in the EIR process occurs once the city determines that an EIR would be required to fully evaluate environmental impacts. And once that determination is made, the city prepares what's referred to as a notice of preparation, or an NOP. That includes a brief description of the project and an overview of the EIR process. So the NOP for this project started circulation on May 23rd. Continue circulating for 30 days, and that 30 days will end on June 23rd. During that time, comments can be submitted regarding the scope or content of the environmental analysis. And just one thing to clarify is that the comments submitted tonight should focus more on the scope and content of the EIR as opposed to the actual merits of the project or specific project design details. After circulation period is completed, the analysis in the EIR can be prepared, and that will include discussion regarding environmental impacts that could potentially occur to the identified resource areas on the next slide here. So as you can see, we have 20 resource areas that will be evaluated in the EIR, and that will include an overview of the regulatory framework, existing conditions, and impact analysis for each of the resource areas. A couple things that will also be included that aren't specifically listed here would be potential growth-inducing impacts, and also an alternatives discussion that will evaluate a range of alternatives that could either reduce or avoid potentially significant impacts that could be identified during the process. So once that analysis is completed, the draft EIR will be prepared, and that will include appendices that will have the technical reports that were completed to support the analysis. And that will be posted for public circulation and would circulate for 45 calendar days. So there are several opportunities for public participation throughout the process. The first would be during the circulation period for the NOP, which, as mentioned previously, started a couple weeks ago on May 23rd and will run until June 23rd. The second opportunity would be tonight here during the scoping meeting. The third would be during the 45-day public circulation period for the draft EIR. And then final opportunities would occur during public meetings for the project. That would be the planning commission meeting and eventually the city council hearing for the project. So for the NOP and scoping meeting, you can either submit written comments or you can provide verbal comments this evening during the meeting. Any comments received during the NOP circulation period will be compiled and included in the draft EIR as an appendix. And if there are any comments pertaining specifically to the scope of the environmental review, those would be addressed within the text of the document itself. During the 45-day public circulation period, comments can be submitted to the city, and any comments pertaining specifically to the content analysis within the draft EIR would be responded to in writing as part of what's called the final EIR. And that final EIR would also include any text additions or revisions made after the 45-day circulation period is completed. Any agencies or individuals who provide comments on the draft EIR during that circulation process will be notified regarding the availability of the final EIR, and that would occur at least 10 days before the first public hearing for the project. And then verbal comments would also be taken during both the planning commission meeting and the city council hearing and responded to at the time if needed. So there's a few different ways you can provide a scoping comment for this project and the EIR that's being prepared. So the first would be verbal comment today during the meeting. You can also submit written comments, either a physical copy to the address included on the screen or with the email address at the bottom of the screen. And now that we've had a bit of an overview of the general EIR process, wanted to just provide a rough timeline of how events will occur throughout the rest of the process. Like I mentioned before, the NOP circulation period is currently ongoing. That will be ending on June 23rd. We're having the EIR scoping meeting tonight. And draft EIR circulation based on current estimates should fall sometime within fall of this year. And then the final EIR and public hearings for the project would occur in early spring of next year. So I think that's all we have for this presentation. And if there's any comments or questions, happy to take those now.
Okay. We'll take the comments from folks that are here in person first, and then we'll go online. Just take a moment here to say that the meeting is recorded, so it's going to be available online on our website. There's a super web page, but this is where that recording will go. So we'll start with anyone here on comments.
Yeah, we spoke. This was the same comment that I raised at the last community meeting. I'll send written comments as well.
Okay.
This is primarily around concerns about traffic post-project. The already pretty hazardous situation we have right now, primarily at the intersection of Ocolte and Campbell. Coming as you come further east off of Campbell Avenue or from the west off of Ocolte and take turn on to El Camino Real onto the path of pedestrians. There aren't any dedicated turn signals there, so we've got cars competing with students. We have over 5,000 students a day making trips across the street. And as we add more people and more density at that site, and there were concerns raised by the neighborhood and the New Hall community, if they're coming up Campbell Avenue, it's really a choke point. And that's just that it's a poor design of an intersection. We're worried about this project magnifying what's already a bad situation. That would be probably one of my biggest concerns.
Steve, if I could speak.
Yeah.
For a brief moment. So Shannon George, also with David J. Powers Associates, city's consultant. I do want to point out that, part of this would be, there will be a traffic study that will be incorporated that will analyze the effects of the project on the operations of the roadway. But I did want to point out that any existing issues is not within the purview of this project to address those, so. So it'll just be any additional
Yeah,
effect of the project, yeah.
For them, for the city,
Yeah.
the existing concerns, that's on. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Correct.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, no one else here in
I have
person?
one more.
Oh, go ahead.
It'd be during the construction phase. Our building is at 451, so 455 El Camino Real, so it's that building right within the footprint of, will be surrounded. That's an academic, it's a classroom building. Concerned about noise during the project. I know there's only so much that can be done, but it probably is gonna be significant for a couple year period in the duration of this project. And so like an assessment of what we can expect to encounter in that building.
For sure, yeah, there is going to be a noise vibration assessment prepared for the project that'll look at potential impacts during full construction and operation of the project at surrounding receptors.
Okay. Online, we have one and Michael, one second. You're able to speak, go ahead and unmute yourself. Michael, you can speak now. Unmute yourself, try again, Michael. Okay, if I may, I'll move on, and the mic works, you can go ahead and raise your hand, 1 second. Anyone else online? All right, I see one from Betsy, 1 second. All right, Betsy, you're able to speak now, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. I said some of this last week, but it looks to me like this design is locking in some fairly low density, some relatively low density at least, for a very long time, very, very close to our, main transit hub, which is about to get even more central and more busy. And I think that's a big missed opportunity. I guess my question here is, have we done transportation demand management kinds of work for this proposal yet? And if so, what does that look like? Where can I see it?
So a transportation demand management plan will be prepared for the project in conjunction with the transportation analysis that's going to be prepared. And that will detail any programs that would be implemented by the project to manage trips produced by the project or encourage alternative modes of transportation, things of that nature. And that will-
It'll be available to the public at the same time the draft EIR is available.
Have anything else to add, Betsy?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, did I see like a red comment in the,
Yeah, let's kind of go to that after everyone, but I can see another hands up, so let's. Oh, it's sounding beautiful. This is what the comments say, so.
what was?
Since everybody's here, it sounds kind of muffled, so we'll turn it that way, which is better. Things like Betsy can hear us, and Jason are here, so. All right, anyone else online? Okay, so. Michael, I have one, that your second attempt? It is, you raise your hand again. Okay. Okay, Michael, give that a try. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's see if that works better.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, I just switched to my phone. I'm sorry. So my name is Michael Stockwell. I'm the chairman of the board with the South Bay Historical Railroad Society. So we manage the historic depot right there. And I'm curious how this works with or impacts the station area plan.
People itself,
Pardon me?
How this project would impact the station.
well,
This is part of it.
the project itself will go before the station area plan, which is in the process of planning right now. So, you know, what, it'll go to, planning commission, city council that are the current zoning and general plan. Now. Since already, you know, applied, submitted,
But it is within the plan area.
it is within the planning, correct?
Right, okay, I understand it is within the planning area, and I was just wondering as I'm part of that task force as well, and as we move through height restrictions and things like that, does this fall under those, or is this already been approved and moving forward, so it's kind of outside the scope of that?
But outside the scope of that, this is, like I said, gonna, be subject to the current standard, current zoning and current general plan.
It is.
Okay.
It is not yet approved, though. It is going through approval process currently.
Yeah.
I understand, okay, thank you for the clarification.
In the Q&A, no other hands up, online. Last one here, anyone else in person? Again, the meeting is recorded, so, and our contact is on the presentation, so you can go back and see my contact there. Any other questions? And this meeting earlier, let's get it. Okay, I see none. We will adjourn this meeting and help you reporting online when you're watching. Okay, we have our contact. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
You.